Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's another beautiful night for baseball in Baseball Town. The Reading Fightin Phils and the Binghamton Rumble Ponies getting set for Game 3 of this 6-game stand here in Reading. The Phils and Ponies splitting a doubleheader yesterday, so looking to get the advantage today. Phils at 11-11. The Ponies are now at 8-14. We are live just inside Tompkins Plaza. The gates are open, and first pitch is scheduled for 7 o'clock here at First Energy Stadium. Alongside Jake Starr, my broadcast partner, we are live, and the man in the middle is the manager, Al Pedrique. We got Jake from State Farm on one side of the plaza. We got Jake from the Reading Phils on the other side of the plaza, and Al Pedrique, the manager for the Phils, in the middle of all of us. Skip, talking about last night's game, they didn't get a job done in Game 1, but you came out and you found a way in Game 2. All year long, this team has hit. Among the team leaders, the batting average at the top of the all season long, 3 hits last night, but you found a way to get it done in a really well-pitched baseball game.
Yeah, Bob, thank you for having me again. Anytime you come out with a split and a doubleheader, it's a good thing. We could have won the first game, obviously. We went into the 8th inning with a 1-run lead. We can hold the lead, but that's baseball. It's why you got to play 27 outs. But I'm glad the way we came back out the second game, the guys with a lot of energy, play hard. And like you said, we're not hitting the ball right now the way we did in the first half. But on the long season, you're going to have stretch where you're going to struggle a little bit offensively. As a team, you have to execute the little thing, a small baseball. And last night we did the second game. We had 2 sacrifices bound. We haven't done it the whole year, which is, as a manager, is good to see so the players understand when you're not getting a lot of hits, you're not scoring a lot of runs, and then you have to pay attention to details. You have to play the game the right way. You have to execute when it counts, and we did last night, and we got a chance to win another close game.
Yeah, you kind of took the words out of my mouth because you had 2 occasions in both the 6th and what turned out to be the 8th inning and extra innings. It was a 7-inning game in the second game of the doubleheader. You had a leadoff man on second base, and you bunted him to third base. That's very much old school. It's very much technical way of getting the job done. And ultimately, that turned out to be your 2 runs in the game. So it was a very defined way of getting the guy to third base and ultimately getting him in.
Yeah, obviously, as a manager, you have to put guys in the situation where they can be successful and understand what it takes to play the game the right way and win those kind of games. You're not, like I said, you're not going to always come through with a 2-3 run homer. And when we're struggling right now, we have to figure it out, be creative, take advantage of other team mistakes. Go from first to third, their ball read, go to second. Somehow we got to put ourselves in the scoring position and let the big boys in the middle of the lineup do the job.
Talk about the middle of the lineup doing their job. A guy who did their job to the truest definition was Jalen Ortiz in the bottom of the 8th inning last night. Gets up there, it's a 3-2 count, and as a hitter, you want to get up there, you want to hit, you want to drive the game-winning run home. But he goes up there, he works a terrific at-bat, gets to a full 3-2 count, and takes it for ball 4. It wasn't the most dramatic way to end it in the world, but for him, goes up there, does a job. Had to feel good just seeing him, keep the bat on the shoulder, have a good approach up there, and do what he had to do to help the team win.
Yes, that's what Ortiz did yesterday. He knew there was a tough situation. I would say for both, for him and the pitcher, because obviously with the bases loaded, he's going to have to throw a strike, be around the plate. As a hitter, you got to be patient, relax a little bit, try not to do too much. You got to hit the ball hard somewhere. And luckily, the Ortiz took him a deep count 3-2 with a split. He had a good at bat, ended up walking the go-ahead run. But again, you don't need hits to win games. You can win it the way we did it last night, moving guys over, take the walk, take what they give you, and also you can have won the game on the wild pitch. Anything can happen last night, and I'm glad we came through.
Game of baseball, you're always going to have hot streaks, you're always going to have off streaks, and the one guy who really hasn't had a whole lot of that this year is Carlos De La Cruz. Every time you start to think, looks like Carlos might be scuffing along a little bit, he seems to just find a way, and last night, after a couple of bad at-bats early on, ends up getting 2 big hits in Game 2 and Game 1, and starts it off with a couple of big hits as well in Game 2. Again, just very much been a very consistent hitter all season long.
Yeah, he's been the whole season, Bob. And like you said, for a young guy, young hitters, He's done a great job by not coming through early in the game, but then he stayed focused. He knows that he's going to get another opportunity. That's what happened last night. He got a big double down the left field line. Stowe scored. We tied the game, and that got the team going. We got the momentum on our side. But as a young player, that's what we're trying to teach him, that we need to be consistent by staying mentally in the game, because you never know when you're going to come in a big situation, whether you play defense or you as a hitter, and I'm glad that he did it last night.
A handful of roster moves yesterday. One of those roster moves was adding a new arm to the bullpen in Tommy McCullum, who's had a really strong year so far with high A jersey. Sure, not sure how much you've seen him, if you see him at all this year, but what can Fightin's fans expect to see from Tommy McCullum when he comes in games out of the bullpen?
Jack, I saw him a little bit during spring training, maybe a couple of times, and then I was impressed the way he handled himself on the mound, very aggressively, coming, facing challenger hitters. He faced some guys in AAA during spring training, and he had no problem, no issues. I heard a lot of good things about the kid, that he was then having a good season and high A. We know what he can do. He throws strikes. That's a good thing about him. He's not afraid to go after the hitters. A good fastball, good breaking pitch. So he's going to be on the game tonight. Tonight's going to be his first opportunity pitching in double A. So we have a lot of faith on him that he's going to help us a lot.
We're talking about the Fightin Phils and their games last night with Binghamton, and we're doing so with the manager of the Fightin Phils, Al Pedrique. And Skip, one of the things that you almost kind of forget about in last night's game, again, it turned out to be a pitcher's duel. Dom Hamill was outstanding for Binghamton. Josh Hendrickson, somebody showed up in the first inning that didn't look a whole lot like Josh Hendrickson. He had all kinds of troubles early on, but to his credit, he battled through that and ended up giving you a solid game when it was all said and done, and ended up keeping you very much in that game.
Yeah, we knew about going to the second game, fixing Hamill. We saw him earlier, and he's a tough guy. That's another guy, when he's on the mound, you can tell that he's going to be aggressive. It's going to be a tough, busy night, and he showed last night. He worked ahead the count, moved the ball around the plate, changed speed well, kept our hitters off balance basically the whole time he was in the game. But thank God that Henderson kept us in the game. He had a rough first inning where he walked the lead off, hit the second hitter, ended up throwing, I think it was a wild pitch. That's how they scored the first run. But then he regrouped, came back out, threw strike, and like I said, overall he kept us in the game and gave us a chance.
As a manager, are there conversations you have with a guy when it's in the first inning and it's, okay, it looks like he doesn't have his best stuff tonight? Anything you say to try and reassure them, settle them down, or is it one of those things where you kind of trust the guy to figure it out himself as he goes on throughout the game?
I like to kind of help him to relax a little bit, because the tendency for those guys when they struggle early in the game, they want to do too much. They try too hard, and that's when they get in a lot of trouble. So when they come back in the dugouts, I always remind them, hey, be yourself, keep us in the game, and we're going to take care of the rest.
It's a great lesson for a guy who's pitching tonight in Mick Abel, 21-year-old, who has to still learn how to pitch at this level. All the stuff is there. There's no question about Mick Abel's stuff, but as a starting pitcher, there's going to be nights where you just don't have your best stuff, but yet you still have to figure out a way to try to get your team 5 innings, 6 innings, whatever you can get them, because you can't just mail it in. You got to figure out a way to get through it. And I think it's a great lesson for a Mick Abel to just kind of sit and watch that happen in front of him.
Yeah, I think Mick is heading in the right direction. I think he's getting closer from that standpoint, where when he realizes he doesn't have his best stuff, he's going to have to go and pitch. When I say pitch, you have to locate your pitches. You have to change speed, throw off-speed pitch in a fastball count. Understand that you're not going to have maybe the 95, 96 fastball, so you're going to have to move the ball around the plate, trust your defense, pitch to contact, and we feel that Mick is very close.
The guy who starts tomorrow night for you has turned in back-to-back really good starts. 7 innings last week at Altoona. Had 10 strikeouts at Altoona, 9 the week before against Portland. But I think the number that I think stands out the most about Griff McGarry from his last 2 starts is just 2 walks over his last 13 innings pitched. It's got to feel really good for you and for Brad Bergeson to see those walk numbers come down and the control there for McGarry, because when he's in the zone, he's really hard to hit.
Yeah, definitely for McGarry, that's the key. throw less pitches as possible the first 2-3 innings, and if he does that, he's not going to walk a lot of people. That's another guy that he can pitch to contact, and he's done that, I would say, the last 3 outings. He's done a great job by working hand the count, cutting down the walks, increasing the strikeout ratio. So anytime you see the strikeout ratio being higher than the walks, obviously that's a success.
One of the guys I wanted to talk to you about, because I know you especially appreciate guys who do the little things in this game. And Madison Stokes, who was your leadoff hitter both games last night, he'll be your leadoff hitter tonight. When it was all said and done last night, he was 0 for 4. But he was on base 3 times in game 1. He was on base twice in game 2. You can still impact the game of baseball whether you have hits or not, and Madison Stokes was defining that to last night.
That's right, Bob, and that's one thing we always talk to the players about it. If you don't get a hit, you walk, you get on base by an arrow, now you got to run the bases. You got to figure out how to get to scoring position, how to go from first to third, and that's what Stokes had done the whole year, basically. This is the kid that had a couple good weeks where he was hitting 270, 280. Right now he's searching a little bit at the plate, but I feel good about him because anytime he goes to the plate, he's going to fight. He's going to give you some good at-bats, and anytime he gets on, and then he's giving the chance for the De La Cruz, Ortiz, Wilson, whoever is behind him, that's being swinging the ball well. Whoever is behind him, they're going to hit the ball in the gap, and he's going to be able to score. But again, he understands his role, and he knows that he's not going to be probably a 320, 25 homer type of guy. But if he does a little thing, he's going to contribute, and he's going to help the team to win a lot of games.
Last one from me. 3 guys yesterday also earned a promotion to AAA Lehigh Valley. Brett Schultz, Braden Zarmniski, and Tyler Phillips. It's got to feel good as a manager to see, 3 guys, a few guys who have gone through some injury adversity throughout their career too, to, get that bump up to the AAA level.
Well, definitely. Anytime you bring somebody to your office, you can let them know that you're moving up, whether it's a AAA in the big league. It's a great feeling. As a manager, you get goosebumps. You know that you contribute somehow to help those guys to improve, to get better as a player, and getting the opportunity because they earn it. That's a great feeling.
Goosebumps aside, it also impacts what you can do, because it's just as soon as you figure out what exactly you want to do with the guys in the bullpen or in your starting rotation, now you got to spin the wheel and you got to figure out a different way to get it done. So it does impact. It's great for them, but it does impact you. But that's part of being a manager in the minor leagues.
Oh, it is. No doubt about it. Anytime you come to the park, the phone might be ringing, and then you know you're going to lose some players. But the key, I think, is to stay positive. Show the guys, hey, don't panic. We got a lot of guys that they're still in the clubhouse. They're going to help us win game. As long as we stay together as a team and execute the little things, we're going to be fine. So my job and my coaching staff is to make sure when we lose a player, hey, it's not a big deal. We move on. We got to play the game. We got to show up the next day, like I said, in the positive attitude and not the fact that we have enough good players that we can win games.
That's what we're going to find out. We'll find that out in a matter of moments. The Reading Fightin' Phils and the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. We'll take a timeout. We get back on the Reading Fightin' Phils Radio Network. We'll have the starting laps and first pitch from Baseball Town.